How's it going, everybody? Roseman here today with another deck list video. Today I'm going to be showing you my deck list for OP03 Yellow Katakuri. This leader has a Dawn ×1 when attacking ability. Look at up to one card from the top of your or your opponent's life cards, and then place it at the top or bottom of the life cards. Then this leader gains plus 1000 power during this battle. So every time you swing using this leader ability, it will be a 7k swing. Super strong leader ability, really fun to play. You can kind of manipulate some stuff in your life and move some triggers around, and that's really how this deck kind of functions. So starting off, we have 4 copies of OP03 Charlotte Pudding. She's a 1-cost, 2000 power, 1000 counter. On play, look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to one Sanji or Big Bomb Pirates type card other than Charlotte Pudding, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. This is your searcher. This is to get to, what you need to find, your 10-cost bombs, your Katakuris, your Prosperos. That is your start to the engine here. So you're going to run 4 copies of that. Next, we run 3 copies of the OP04 Sanji. He's 4 cost, 5000 power, 1000 counter, and he's a blocker. He does have a trigger of you may trash 1 card from your hand to play this card. This is searchable off the pudding, but it is also really good to hit out of life, because you can play it out of life and get it on board, so you have a blocker out there. Good mid-range blocker. So 3 copies of that. Next, we have 3 copies of OP08 Nami. 5 cost, 5000 power, 1000 encounter. On play, you may trash 1 card with a trigger from your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Then, if you have 3 or less cards in your hand, draw 1 card. And she does have a trigger, activate this card's on play effect. Really good for some mid-range removal. It can help you to regrow your hand if your hand's getting small. And another really good one to hit out of life, because you can activate its on-play effect. Obviously, you won't get the character to board with that, but you do get to get her KO and that draw. So we run 3 copies of that. Next, we have 4 copies of the OP12 Secret Bartholomew Kuma. He is a 6-cost, 7000 power. He has 1000 encounter. On play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. Then this character gains +2 cost until the start, or until the end of your opponent's next end phase. It also has an on KO on your opponent's turn. When this card is KO'd, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. So he's a really good double healer. He's a big body, 7000 power. Even a cost 6 can help you to keep it stick on board a little easier. But for the most part, he is a healer to get your life coming back up. So we are going to run 4 copies of that. Next, we have 4 copies of OP11 Zeus. 2 cost, 2000 power. He is a 2k encounter. On play, you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life card to your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. This one is mostly in the deck as a searchable 2k counter. If you're really, really well off in life, it could be beneficial to take 1 of your life to KO something. But for the most part, I find that this is just really good to have as a 2k counter in hand. So we do have 4 copies of it because it is searchable. Next, we have 4 copies of Starter 20 Charlotte Brûlée. She's 3 cost, 3k with 2k encounter and has a trigger. Look it up to 1 card from the top of your or your opponent's life cards and place it on the top or bottom of the life cards. Then add this card to your hand. This one's super good because when triggered out of life, you get to basically look at your life again for free and get this 2k counter into your hand. It is also searchable off of the pudding or the Prospero, so that's really cool to see. You may look at potentially leaving these in the deck, just because they can be placed into your life later with like Akuma, or if a Kikanojo gets KO'd, or with like the Charlotte Linlin, the 10 cost ones. So it's a great card though, fantastic to see out of life because you get that extra benefit of getting to know what else is in your life, and you get to put this 2K into your hand. So we do run 4 copies of it. Again, it is searchable, so always have 4 copies of that. Next, we have quite possibly my favorite 2K counter in yellow. 4 copies of OP04 Capone Gang Bedge, 3 cost 3K, 2K counter, with the trigger of up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards cannot attack during this turn. Super fantastic one to hit out of life because it can stop a swing, potentially saving you a game. Definitely worth putting to, say, the bottom of your life if you're not seeing any of the 0 drops in your life. This could be a game saver. Also is a 2K counter, so fantastic card to get in hand. So 4 copies of that. Next, we'll get into the cards that have no counter. Starting off with 4 copies of OP03 Charlotte Prospero, 3 cost 5K power. On KO, you look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Big Mom Pirates type card and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. And then it has a trigger of you may trash 1 card from your hand, and then you play this card. Super good card. This one also helps to get your engine going. You know, it's a 5K body. Your opponent may not want to swing into it because of the on KO ability, which makes it want to stick. But don't be afraid to let this one go because you can use it to search. You know, maybe finding one of your 10 cost moms or finding one of your 8 cost Katakuris, something like that. So you're going to run 4 copies of that for that on KO searching. Next, we have 4 copies of OP06 Kikanojo, 4 cost 6,000 power. On KO, if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. And it has the trigger of if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, you can play this card. This one's really fun to get out of life because basically you're going to get out for free as long as your opponent's life is low enough. It has that on KO ability, so your opponents aren't going to want to swing at it very much, and it is a 6K body. So very strong, very solid card. I love this in most yellow decks. So 4 copies of that Kikanojo there. Next, we have 2 copies of the Starter Deck 7 Charlotte Linlin. This is the 7 cost 8,000 power version. It has the on play of your opponent chooses one of the following: trash 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards, or add 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Essentially, what this means is your opponent either trashes 1 life or they give you 1 life. This one, I tend not to find myself playing all that much. You know, I find that for the most part, you're using your Dawn for other stuff, whether it be one of the Kumas or some of your later game stuff. So for the most part, this ends up getting used as like Kuma fodder, or just as a card to trash when needed. I'm looking at replacing this one. I just don't quite know what I would want to replace it with yet. Looking at different options, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Next, I do have 2 more copies of OP10 Eustace Captain Kidd, 8 cost 9K power. He has on play, you may rest this character, trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards, and end of your turn, if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, draw 1 card and trash 1 card from your hand. This one's really good if you're needing to get multiple swings off, like you want to get your leader ability off to make it a stronger swing, but you still want to make sure you're getting the life out of your opponent's life. So you can utilize 8 of your Dawn if you're at 10, and you still get to put a Dawn onto your leader for that leader effect. Sometimes it is a stronger play than just dropping the 10 cost mom, but you know, you never know. So it's in there as a utility, and we only run the 2 copies of it because it's not really what you're wanting to play most of the time. Most of the time you're going to want to use that 10 cost mom. Next, we have 2 copies of OP03 Secret Charlotte Katakuri, 8 cost 8k. On play, add up to 1 character with a cost of 8 or less to the top or bottom of the owner's life cards face up. This is a really cool card. You can bounce your Kikanojos back into your life to give yourself an extra life, to then get get an extra trigger out for that. You can throw some of your opponent's big bodies into their life, get them off board, because it doesn't KO and it doesn't trash and it doesn't. It's not really removal per se. It's really good for getting things like Burgesses off board if you have your on-play abilities in a Blackbeard match. You can get like Garps and Kuzons and Sakazukis off board if you're playing into like Kuzon. So super good here. I love this card. I find it's really fun to run in a lot of yellow decks. So we run 2 copies of it here. Next up is the absolute end-all be-all for this engine. It is the OP03 Charlotte Linlin, 10 cost, 12k power. On play, if your leader has the Big Mom Pirates type, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards, then trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards. This is what this deck is all about. It's get to 10 Dawn. It is play a 10 cost Mom. It's heal and trash at the same time. It's a 12k body on board. It is an absolutely filthy, disgustingly strong card. Obviously it is leader locked to Big Mom Pirates, but you have this Katakuri that can run it. You have the purple yellow pudding that can run it, and the pudding is pretty strong as well. I just like this Katakuri because he's fun. I like to play with around and look at my life and be able to maneuver things. Next in our events, we have 4 copies of OP06 You're the One Who Should Disappear, the 0-drop event. It's just a counter card. You may trash 1 card from your hand up to one of your leaders or characters, gains plus 3k power during this battle. It does have a trigger. If you have 0 life cards, you may add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life, then trash 1 card from your hand. This is what you're trying to aim to put at the bottom of your life. If you find one of these in your life with your leader ability, it is always going to be thrown to the bottom of your life if you can make it happen. Otherwise, it's a solid counter in hand. It becomes your Linlins, your Kids, your 8-drop Katakuris, your Prosperos. Things without counter all of a sudden do get counter when you're utilizing it with this You're the One Who Should Disappear. But obviously you want to see that in your life. You want to have it at the bottom of your life so you get to get that heal effect off of it. Fantastic card. I love it. I run it in my Enel builds, and you'll find it in a lot of yellow builds. It is just a very strong counter card. Lastly, I have 2 copies of OP03 Thunderbolt, 2 cost event, with a main of you may trash 1 card from the top of your life cards, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, and a trigger of KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. For the most part, you're wanting to pull this out of your life and utilize its trigger. You don't really want to use its main ability because you're not trying to trash your life with this build. You do have a fair amount of healing, but your opponents are going to go pretty hard and strong into your life because they're going to try to avoid KOing like your Kumas and your Kikanojos. So we're trying to avoid taking life as much as possible. So this card's really good for seeing in life. If you're not finding it in life and you are getting it into hand, it's good to use for your Namis. It's good as fodder for like a Kuma. It's good as, for a trash to get a Sanji on board out of life. So for the most part, it's just in there as a trigger, but it is a pretty strong card if you do get that trigger to hit. And that's the deck list, guys. If you have comments, questions, or concerns about what I'm running, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. I love having conversations with you guys to discuss the decks. Like I said, I am trying to think about checking out this 7-cost Linlin. I just don't know what I would put in there. So if you have ideas, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. I would love to entertain them or have conversations with you guys as to, why you think that card would be better than this. And with that being said, that's all I got for you. Thanks. See ya.